fly with me, come fly, let's fly away.
Nice. Leave that in.
No.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Undercut. Today, we are going to be giving you the top 5 drivers to replace, well, not replace, but have the Audi seats in 2025. This is really interesting because this is the last seat on the grid. It's potentially quite convoluted, I'd say. There are quite a few options, but only one seat available. And arguably every driver, maybe bar one, deserves this seat. So, with that said, let's jump straight into it. Number 5. Jack, who's your number 5?
Number 5 is the driver who I think that you think that doesn't deserve this seat.
Who's number 5 then?
Zhou Guanyu.
Okay, why have you gone with Zhou Guanyu number 5?
See, I've gone with Zhou Guanyu number 5. I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
But I think it's more likely to happen than Kevin Magnussen, for example.
Right, so he just eclipses your list.
Yeah. So he's just in the list. Look, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think the fact that he's at the team, his past couple of years, he's not been too bad. This year, he's been woeful.
Yeah.
Like, his performances over the past couple of years, he was thereabouts with Bottas on quite a few occasions. So, it has... This year's been awful, but before that, it's not too bad. And I think because he's already in the team, he's integrated into the team, he knows the team, it does give him the upper hand on the likes of a Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. I've gone with Daniel Ricciardo as my number 5. Very unlikely option, but a wealth of experience. And if he is to stay in Formula 1, if there's any chance that Ricciardo gets a seat, it is this seat. There's no other chance. Unless Lawson bins it, or Perez gets replaced, or there's some sort of feud at Red Bull, there's no chance for Daniel anywhere else. This is about as far as it goes. I put him in as number 5 just because I think it'd be nice to see him, and maybe it is an option for Audi, but I don't think he'll get it. That's why he's at number 5 for me.
No, yeah.
Number 4?
Mick Schumacher.
Okay, you've gone with Mick Schumacher. Why have you gone with Mick Schumacher?
I've gone with Mick. Obviously, we had them rumours, that speculation that he was in the running for that Audi seat. Was it a couple months ago now?
Yeah, around Belgium.
Yeah, it was around Belgium. Obviously, he was rumoured for that Alpine seat as well. I think Mick's a very good driver. I think it wouldn't be a bad option by Audi to choose him. I just think he's, from the 3 above him, I think he's probably the least favoured from the likes of Mattia Binotto and people in that team. So I don't see Mick getting it, unfortunately. I love Mick as well, by the way. Like, I think it'd be a great shout to put Mick in that car. I think he's very underrated from what he did in Haas, considering where that car was. Obviously, he's got the wealth, well, a bit more experience, a bit more knowledge about Formula 1 after this time at Mercedes, being their reserve driver. So, I want it to be Mick, to be honest with you, but it's not going to be Mick, so that's why he's 4th.
That's fair enough. I had the same mentality about my number 4. My number 4 isn't Mick Schumacher, and I don't actually have Mick Schumacher on my list, despite the rumours. I don't think there's any chance he gets in this seat. I don't know why. I've got this feeling that I don't think Mick gets there. But someone that I do think maybe has a chance, number 4, is Teo Pourchaire.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming. No, but you look at it, right? Jack Doohan got in at Alpine, their reserve driver. Teo Pourchaire's their reserve driver. He won the F2 championship. He's a very quick driver. I heard a stat the other day. He's actually the youngest F2 driver to win the Monaco Grand Prix. He's got a good CV. But I put him as number 4, and only just ahead of Daniel Ricciardo because he's the reserve driver. But I still put him number 4 because at the end of the day, there's been no rumours. there's been no sign of him ever getting that seat. So I think it is unlikely still. But I'd say he's got more of a shout than Mick Schumacher has, just because, like you said about Zhou, he knows the team. He's sort of integrated into the Sauber family already, so there is a chance. But apart from that, I don't see it.
No, I mean, I know that you love Porsche.
I do love Porsche.
You have done it for years.
Yeah.
So I knew that was coming on the list when we first discussed this video.
Yep.
So
Porsche's
I knew that was coming.
Yep.
The only thing that bugs me about Porsche is why has he not been given the opportunity? Because he's been in that team a long time now.
Because the issue with Porsche, like a lot of great F2 drivers, he won the championship the year where it was the first time in history in F1 that no driver was dropped or changed or transferred. From last year to this year, we had the exact same grid, and he won the championship in the wrong year. So, and we've seen it happen before. You know, drivers that can't get seats because there aren't seats available that are really good and they've won F2 and they've won F3 and stuff like that. You know, and for example, on the other end of the stick, Antonelli, Behrman, and Colapinto have all been benefactors of that because they've been doing well at the right time. I guess another example of someone who got in at the wrong time as well was Liam Lawson, because there was no seat for him. But obviously now with everything happening at RB, there, he's a bit fortunate there. But it happens to these types of drivers.
I don't know. I don't know, because the only thing that bugs me is obviously the team knows Porsche.
Yeah.
The team knows what he's like. They know how good of a driver he is. If you've changed your lineup at Audi, you know who Porsche is. You know what they are. You know what you want. If you want a rookie, there you go. He's ready. He's already in the team. Why is it not him? I thought if it would be him, it would have been said by now.
Yeah. That's why he's not higher up on my list.
So there's obviously got to be something bugging within the team on his potential ability in Formula One.
Yeah, and they'll know more than us.
Yeah.
They'll have all the data from the sim. There's a chance maybe he just isn't looking quick enough. So.
Well, that's why Porsche is not even in my list, because I would have thought if there was any chance, it would have been done by now.
That's fair enough. Who have you got for number 3?
Number 3. Now, this was close between 2 and 3.
Right.
It could be either way. But number 3, I've got Bortoleto.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Now, he's having a great year in F2.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, he's probably one of my favourite drivers in F2.
Yeah.
I love him. Obviously, there's a link with Mattia Binotto that we've found out. Was it back in just before Belgium again, when Mick Schumacher rumours were coming through? Mattia Binotto's a huge fan of him. Obviously, Mattia Binotto has a big choice to make at Audi. Yep. And I think Bortoleto, along with Behrman, along with Antonelli, is at a point where he could deserve a seat, and if he doesn't want to end up like a Porsche.
No.
So I think there's a chance there for Bortoleto. Unfortunately for him, I think there's a driver that may have just sneaked in front of him at this point now, and then there's obviously the main driver that I think both we can agree on as number 1.
Yeah.
So unfortunately for him, there are 2 now in front of him. If you came back to me, Zandvoort, maybe Monza, I would have been like, Bortoleto was the second choice. But he has dropped to third choice now.
Yeah, Bortoleto, interestingly enough, is not my third choice. My third choice, I'll talk more about Bortoleto when we get to it, but my third choice is Zhou Guanyu.
Oh, no.
Very, very high up on the list.
Yeah.
But I do think he's more likely than Porsche and Ricciardo. Just because...
I think he's more likely than Ricciardo.
Just because, for me, Now, obviously, if I'm in control of Audi, I'm taking Porsche or Ricciardo over Zhou any day of the week. But we also have to think about I refer back to what you said about him, about him being integrated into the team, already knowing the team, already got that F1 experience, and also he brings a lot of money. He brings a lot of sponsorship. Yeah. So, you know, if Audi are looking at it from that perspective, Zhou is, you know, he's the right candidate at the moment until maybe the new Rex. So I don't know. Zhou's in at third for me.
The money side of things with Zhou. Now, the thing, if it wasn't Audi taking over, I think Zhou stays in that seat in terms of financial gains that he brings.
Yeah.
I think Audi are big enough, sustainable enough, without that money that Zhou would bring. Unfortunately for Zhou.
Yeah.
And Audi, as its own manufacturer, obviously, in terms of Formula One knowledge, they're not there. But in terms of financial wise, Audi are sound.
Yeah.
Like there's no worries there. So they don't need a Zhou to bring in the money. They don't need like a Mazepin type money.
No,
it's not needed. And I would agree with you in terms of Zhou's ahead of Ricciardo. Because I think you look at Ricciardo now, look at what he's done. I don't think a team wants to gamble on Ricciardo anymore.
That's the truth, really.
Yeah, it is. Like, taking Ricciardo now, it's a gamble. It's a big gamble. Which that puts Zhou ahead. Now, I think if you're also a team, you look at it, Zhou's not fast enough. He's had his time in Formula One. Maybe it is time for a Porsche, which is why I put Porsche in front of Zhou, because he's not had a chance in Formula One, whereas Zhou has had a chance and done fuck all with it this year.
That's fair enough.
So that's why Porsche is ahead of Zhou for me in that regard.
Yeah.
But it is close.
It is close. Yeah, like, for example, if Audi weren't taking over and we were talking about the second Sauber seat, I think Zhou's number one. They need that backing.
All I'm saying, you know, I just think Zhou, Porsche, Ricciardo, none of them's getting the seat.
No, that's why they're lower on my list. I think the top two for me are probably the two going head to head. Speaking of number two, who is your number two?
Have you gone Bortoletta for number two?
Well, go on. Let's hear yours.
I went Colapinto.
You went Franco Colapinto. Okay. Why have you
now, obviously, Williams, they've got ties in there with him. Williams have seen what he's like. We've now seen what he's like. He's on pace with Albon.
Yeah. And
he's not on pace with Albon in terms of Nick de Vries was on pace in Monza. Great, whoopee-dee. He's been on pace in Monza. He's been on pace in Azerbaijan. He's been on pace in Singapore. If this carries on for the season, the next few races, why are you not then Audi? Like, Williams will want him to have a seat. There's no room at their team. They've got Sainz coming in and Albon. You're not dropping either of them for Colapinto. But there's a vacant seat. You've got a driver there who's quick enough for Formula One from the 3 races that we have seen. Easily quick enough. Who will pick up points for the team, as we've seen already. If you want a rookie right now to bet your hat on to come into your team, it is Colapinto, because he's got a little bit of knowledge in Formula One now, and it's only going to grow more for the rest of this season. And he's a damn quick driver in both qualifying and in the race, and he does pick up points, and he doesn't bin it. He doesn't bin it in the races. He had that one moment in Monza in his qualifying, but he didn't bin it in the race. He's a solid driver to bring in, and if I'm Audi, I'm doing all I can to bring him in.
Yeah, that's a very, very fair shout. Now,
I mean, it was close with Bortoletta.
Yeah, of course, yeah. For me, my number 2 spot, I have gone with Gabriel Bortoleto. I've
I
left
was
out
50-50.
Franco.
I
I've
was
left
50.
out. Yeah, no, yeah, I get that. I left out Franco Colapinto because I don't think Williams are going to let him go at all. I just don't see it. But then again, people will also argue. People will also argue as well. Bortoleto could be in the same boat. McLaren might not let Bortoleto go. Bortoleto is a McLaren junior driver. But the only reason I put Bortoleto in there is because I think McLaren are more sound with Oscar and Lando for many, many years to come, unless obviously the championship blows wide open between the two. I think they're sound between them two drivers. That I think they'd be more willing to let Bortoleto go than Williams would with Colapinto. Because if Sainz absolutely destroys Albon, they know they've got a driver there that could probably replace Albon in a season or two time that would be on pace with him, and then given more experience might be faster. So
we'll go back on that McLaren thing. Obviously you're saying the sound like with Oscar and Lando.
I think they're very much sound.
I think there's a niggling feeling in a lot of them higher ups' back of the head. Like, obviously we've seen McLaren now come through. They have to do this consistently now.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, there's always a niggling feeling Lando Norris will go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Lando Norris will go to a Mercedes. He will go to a Red Bull. He will go to a Ferrari. He might even go to an Aston Martin if Newey does some magic there.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be a niggling feeling at McLaren. I think there's a niggling feeling in all the supporters as well. Lando Norris will not stay at McLaren for ages. He won't. If they can't sustain it, like we saw it with Lewis Hamilton, that was a shock when he moved to Mercedes. It can happen with Lando.
Everyone thought he was stupid as well.
100% this can happen with Lando. And maybe McLaren wouldn't want to let Bortoleto go in case it does happen, because I think in the back of their heads they are all thinking it still.
I mean, in a perfect world, McLaren keep Bortoleto until one of them leaves, and Williams keep Colapinto until one of them leaves. But I don't think that's likely.
Both drivers are going to suffer then.
Yeah, but at some point, the drivers, for the sake of themselves, are going to search for a seat elsewhere if they can't get in.
I think the fact that I think Colapinto though. I think Williams would let Colapinto go due to the fact that they know he's got a race. I don't think James Vowles would want to stop that. They know how good he is. And Williams are so settled with Albon. They love Albon. They hail him.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Like, Albon is their god, and we know how good Sainz is. That lineup could be there for 5-6 years, easy.
Well, this is the issue, right? It's like maybe the two most settled like driver lineups on the grid where you think, okay, this could last for years and years and years, is probably McLaren and Williams. Like, you've got Sainz and Albon in one and Oscar and Lando in the other. Like, Bortoleto and Colapinto have got no chance at all.
No, I think that them two have to push themselves to get out of that scenario, to get into that Audi seat.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if they push for it really hard, as we've seen with footballers as well, if they push to get out of a team, they will get out of the team.
Yeah. But this is why I went with Bortoleto, because I think if it's going to be one of them, I think Bortoleto has got the least likely chance of getting in at McLaren at the moment. Obviously, granted, like you said, if they stay at the top. If they don't, it could all change. But if we're assuming they stay at the top, I think Bortoleto's got no chance. Especially with how the form of Oscar and Lando this season has been exceptional.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I think we can both agree on number one. It's Bottas. Fairly obvious. Yeah, Valtteri Bottas.
Imagine if we just came out and said completely different thing. Though.
Yeah. Kevin Magnussen.
No. Oh no.
I mean, to be fair, imagine a complete swap from Haas to
No.
Kevin.
Don't even go there.
No. Yeah, it's Valtteri Bottas. I think it will. It's fairly obvious. It's going to be Bottas, isn't it? It's got to be.
I mean, if it's not Bottas, I'm going to be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be mad,
say, I think.
but I'd be surprised.
Well, you look at it, 10-time race winner, a wealth of experience, claims he's driving quicker now than he did at Mercedes when he was beating Lewis Hamilton on occasion. So, yeah, you'd be stupid not to go with Bottas.
I saw a thing with Bottas about beating Lewis Hamilton. He said, to beat Lewis Hamilton, like, I had to drive impeccably well.
Yeah.
Like, to beat him, he knew it was a good day. If he had an average day, he was 20 seconds behind him.
That's just what it is against Lewis Hamilton.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's
Valtteri Bottas, who's a top driver.
Yeah. It does put it into perspective. Like,
arguably one of the best qualifiers.
Yeah, he's a good qualifier.
His qualifying is very underrated.
His time at Mercedes, he never missed a Q3, did he?
No, he didn't miss a Q3.
And then incredible.
Checo, take some notes.
Yeah, Checo, get fucking studying Bottas, bro. But yeah, and then this season in that tractor of a Sauber that's nowhere, he's put it in Q2 sometimes, hasn't he? So
he would go in Q3 in China.
Yeah. Maybe Bottas's qualifying does go under the radar.
Yeah.
Everyone always talks about Russell and Hulkenberg and everyone. Fucking Bottas, bro. Oh my god, Bottas and Hulkenberg qualifying next year. That's insane. Oh my god.
It could be good.
Insane.
They could put themselves in the way.
Yeah, bro. If that car is absolutely trash and them two are qualifying like 12th and 13th, they're going to cause some mayhem next year. It's going to cause some absolute mayhem. But anyway, yes, that is pretty much it for the video. Let us know your top 5 in the comments down below. Who is most likely to get the Audi seat? Do you agree? Is it Bottas? Is it one of the rookies? Is it even maybe Daniel Ricciardo or someone else? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.